Have you ever sat alone in your living room after a family dinner, wondering when the shift happened? When the hugs became colder, the visits rarer, and the tone of your children's voices sharper than before? Maybe you've even asked yourself, how did I raise these kids who now barely listen to me? If you've ever felt like the respect you once had is slowly slipping away, let me assure you, you're not alone. And more importantly, this doesn't have to be the end of your story. Respect can be restored, and sometimes in ways that are even stronger than before. When we reach a certain age, we carry decades of wisdom, sacrifice, and love. We've walked through fire to raise our children, often putting their needs above our own. And yet, as they grow older and busier with their own lives, something strange happens. We start to feel invisible. Advice is ignored. Our presence is tolerated rather than celebrated. And that deep ache of feeling disrespected by the very people we love most begins to grow quietly in the corners of our heart. But here's the thing. Regaining respect isn't about demanding it. It's not about yelling louder, giving ultimatums, or playing the victim. It's about shifting energy, about stepping into your quiet strength, and about remembering that even now, maybe especially now, you are worthy of love, attention, and deep, unwavering respect. In this video, we're going to walk through 7 powerful ways you can gently, but firmly, reclaim the respect you deserve from your children. This isn't about manipulation or guilt. It's about dignity, about leadership, and about modeling the kind of behavior that teaches through calm authority, not fear or shame. Let's begin with something surprisingly simple, but deeply overlooked: self-respect. I know it might sound cliché, but think of it this way. If we don't respect ourselves first, we subconsciously give others permission to treat us poorly. That means honoring your boundaries, saying no without guilt, speaking with clarity instead of shrinking into silence. When you hold yourself with quiet confidence, your energy shifts, and people around you, especially your children, will begin to notice. They may not change overnight, but respect often starts not with them, but with you. I remember speaking with Eleanor, 74, from Albany, New York. She told me, when I stopped chasing my kids for attention and started living my own life, gardening, joining a book club, taking long walks alone, they suddenly started calling me more. They respected that I had a life of my own. There's something powerful about a parent who still chooses to grow, to be curious, to invest in themselves. It reminds your children that you are not just their caregiver. You are a person with dignity and purpose beyond their needs. The second shift is about communication without confrontation. Sometimes when we feel hurt, we respond with silence, sarcasm, or passive aggression. But these methods don't teach. They just create more distance. If your adult child says something disrespectful or cuts you off mid-sentence, try this. Take a breath and say, I know you may not realize it, but the way you said that made me feel unimportant. Don't accuse. Don't explode. Just express. It disarms defensiveness and opens space for reflection. People don't always realize the effect of their words until you lovingly point it out. There's a man named Ray, 78, from Tampa, Florida, who told me something I'll never forget. I used to yell at my son when he ignored my advice. One day I stopped. I just told him, you don't have to agree with me, but I'd appreciate being heard. And that changed everything. Ray wasn't demanding control. He was asking for basic decency, and that sometimes is enough to shift the tone in a home. Before a family can respect you again, they have to see you, not as a burden or background character, but as a whole human being with feelings, needs, and experiences that matter. The way we present ourselves, in posture, in presence, in the words we choose, has power. So if you've been feeling small, overlooked, or disrespected, I want you to take this first step. Sit taller, speak slower, make eye contact, and above all, speak your truth with kindness, but never with apology for existing. Now let's talk about something that might sound simple on the surface but is deeply transformational: Consistency in behavior. As we get older, it's natural to become more sensitive, not just physically, but emotionally too. And when we feel disrespected, it's tempting to withdraw, to shut down, or even to explode in ways we later regret. But if your goal is to regain respect, then your response needs to be steady, not reactive. Respect grows in consistency. If one day you're calm and composed and the next day you lash out, it sends mixed signals. Your children don't know which version of you they're going to face. That creates tension, and tension makes people avoid conversations, not engage in them. Rosa, 81, from Phoenix, Arizona, told me, "I used to give my daughter the silent treatment for days when I felt hurt. But then I realized I wasn't teaching her anything. I was just teaching her to walk on eggshells." When Rosa started addressing things directly, but without emotional extremes, her daughter began responding with more patience and interest. Because respect doesn't just come from your title as parent. It comes from how you show up every time. Let's also acknowledge something a little uncomfortable. Sometimes we unknowingly disrespect ourselves in front of our kids. We say things like, "I'm just old now," or "I guess I'm not needed anymore," or we play the role of the helpless elder, even when we don't need to. That's not humility, that's self-erasure. And kids, no matter their age, pick up on that. When you diminish your own value, you train people to do the same. Reclaiming respect starts with reminding yourself that you still have wisdom, humor, presence, and yes, value to bring to the table. The next piece might be the hardest, but also the most powerful: forgiveness without expectation. Some of you carry deep wounds from your children, harsh words, betrayal, abandonment. And I'm not here to tell you to forget or pretend it never happened. But forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. When you release resentment, you reclaim energy. And when that energy shifts, relationships can begin to heal. Sometimes your children won't say sorry first, sometimes they won't change right away, but your healing can begin even without their participation. Harold, 76, from Chicago, Illinois, shared something that moved me deeply. "My son didn't talk to me for 5 years, and I carried that pain like a stone in my chest. One day I just said out loud, 'I forgive you, not for you, for me.' I slept better that night than I had in years." And a week later, his son called. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe Harold's shift in energy opened a door that was closed for too long. Now that we've talked about forgiveness, let's move into something equally transformative: leading by example. You might think, why do I need to lead? I'm the parent. But leadership doesn't have an age limit. Sometimes regaining your children's respect means showing them what true character looks like, not through lectures, but through how you treat them, even when they've let you down. Albert, 80, from Portland, Oregon, told me this: "When I stopped telling my son what to do and started asking him how he felt, he began opening up to me again. It wasn't immediate, but the tone between us changed. He stopped seeing me as the judge and started seeing me as someone safe." That's the kind of legacy you want to leave, not one of control, but of connection. Another powerful move: reclaim your joy. Yes, joy. Respect often grows in admiration, and admiration comes when your children see you thriving, even in small ways. Whether it's dancing in the kitchen again, planting tomatoes in the backyard, or learning how to use that phone they said you'd never figure out, joy makes you magnetic. It reminds your family that you're still living, not just aging. Doris, 77, from Raleigh, North Carolina, started painting again after her husband passed. "At first it was just to pass time," she said. "But then my grandson asked if I could teach him. That little moment brought us closer than we'd been in years." Sometimes respect is rebuilt not through heavy talks, but through light moments. Moments that say, "I'm still here. I'm still growing. Want to grow with me?" And here's the seventh, and maybe the most unexpected, way to regain respect: ask for help with dignity. That's right, not from a place of desperation or dependence, but from a place of inclusion. When you invite your children into your world by asking them to explain something new, to teach you how to do something online, to walk with you through a new chapter, you remind them that you still value the relationship. Asking for help, when done with confidence, actually deepens respect. It says, "I trust you. I believe you have something worth sharing." And in return, you might find they start seeing you in a new light too. So let's wrap this all up. If you've been feeling disrespected, dismissed, or invisible, don't lose heart. Respect isn't always lost forever. Sometimes it just gets buried under years of miscommunication, assumptions, or changing roles, but it can be uncovered. Bit by bit, conversation by conversation, not through guilt, not through pressure, but through love, strength, and quiet authority. You have more power than you realize. You've lived too much, given too much, and learned too much to be treated as anything less than someone worthy of deep respect. And while you can't control everything your children do, you can always choose how you show up, with dignity, with patience, with purpose, and I hope this video reminded you of that. Let's turn the page together. So if something in your heart stirred while watching this, maybe a memory, maybe a regret, maybe a glimmer of hope, I want to thank you for staying with me. This wasn't an easy topic, but it was a necessary one. Because too many elders feel unheard, and too many families forget the quiet strength it takes to grow old with grace. If you've ever been hurt by disrespect, or if you've found a way to rebuild that bond, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Your voice matters more than you know. And if this message meant something to you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach more hearts like yours. Together, we're building a place where wisdom isn't ignored, it's honored. Here's to being respected, seen, and valued at every age.